Ngozi woke up that morning feeling dizzy, weak, and tired. Today was supposed to be her 18th birthday, a day she had eagerly looked forward to. Yet here she was, barely able to lift herself off the bed. She turned to her cousin Amara, who was staying with her, and whispered, "Please bring me some water." Both girls had traveled from the city to their parent village for a visit, and Ngozi had made grand plans to celebrate her birthday. But now she laid in bed, her body betraying her excitement. Concerned, Amara hurried to get some fever medicine, hoping it will help bring down her temperature. Hours passed, and by noon, Ngozi suddenly felt a little better. A newfound strength surged through her limbs, and she managed to sit up. Seeing this, Amara sighed in relief. "Are you sure you are okay now?" she asked, still worried. Ngozi nodded with a small smile. "Yes, I think I can manage." Determined not to let the day slip away completely, the girls decided to go to the market to buy a few things. As they stepped outside, the warm village breeze brushed against their faces, lifting Ngozi's spirit. Ngozi was a striking, beautiful lady. Her intelligence and charm made her lovable to everyone who met her, and her infectious smile could brighten even the dullest moments. Despite the morning weakness, she held onto her energy as she and Amara ran happily towards the bustling village market, laughter echoing in the air. After picking up a few items from the market, Ngozi and Amara began their walk home, chatting and laughing along the way. The sun was high, casting a golden glow over the dusty village path. Suddenly, Ngozi felt a wave of heat rush through her body. Her vision blurred for a moment and her step faltered. She blinked rapidly, trying to steady herself. "Are you okay?" Amara asked, noticing the change in her cousin's expression. Ngozi wiped her forehead, now damp with sweat. "I don't know." Amara gently helped her into the house and laid her down on the bed. Ngozi's body felt heavy, her limbs weak from exhaustion. She managed to close her eyes, her breath shallow but steady. Amara sat beside her for a while, watching with concern before quietly stepping away to let her rest. As the evening deepened, the soft hum of the village life filled the air. The distant voices of the children playing and the occasional bark of a dog echoed outside. At exactly 6 p.m., a piercing scream shattered the calm. Ngozi jolted awake, her body trembling violently as she let another terrified cry. Amara startled, rushed to her side. "Ngozi, what is it?" she asked, gripping her cousin's shoulder. Tears streamed down Ngozi's face, her eyes darting frantically towards the door. "I saw them," she gasped, pointing a shaking finger towards the entrance. "They are coming for me." Amara's heart pounded. "Who? Who is coming for you?" she asked, searching Ngozi's face for answers. "I don't know them," she whispered, her voice barely audible, her entire body trembling with fear. "But they are coming. They want to kill me." Amara swallowed hard, fear and confusion creeping into her own chest. "Kill you? Why would anyone want to kill you?" Ngozi did not answer. She simply clutched Amara's arm, her wide eyes still fixed on the door as though expecting someone or something to burst through at any moment. Ngozi kept crying, her body trembling as fear gripped her. Confused and alarmed, Amara rushed to call their grandmother. Within moments, their grandmother came hurrying into the room, worry etched across her wrinkled face. "What is it, Ngozi?" she asked. But Ngozi remained silent, her eyes fixed on the door, as if expecting something or someone to come through. Sensing something was wrong, their grandmother quickly fetched her anointed water and began sprinkling it around the room, muttering prayers under her breath. "Nothing will happen to my granddaughter," she declared firmly, her voice steady with faith. Ngozi suddenly stopped crying. Her tense body relaxed, and she slowly closed her eyes, drifting into sleep. Amara exhaled in relief, though a lingering worry gnawed at her. She sat beside her cousin, watching her peaceful face, wondering what could have caused such terror. Ngozi remained asleep until 9 p.m. When she finally stared awake, it was as though nothing had happened. She stretched up, flashed a bright and cheerful smile. "I feel great," she announced, her laughter filling the room. Amara brow furrowed. Just few hours ago, Ngozi had been sobbing in fear, convinced that something or someone was coming from her. And now she was acting as if none of this ever happened. Still, Amara played along, forcing a smile as they chatted, laughed, and joked late into the night. Maybe it was exhaustion, she reasoned. Maybe the worst was over. But as the clock struck midnight, the true nightmare began. As the clock struck midnight, Ngozi let a piercing scream, jolting everyone awake. Amara rushed to her side, holding her trembling cousin. "What is wrong, Ngozi?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "They are coming again," Ngozi cried, pointing towards the door. "They want to kill me." Confused and stressed, Amara began to cry. "Grandma, Grandma," she called out, her voice echoing through the house. "I don't know what is wrong with Ngozi." Their grandmother hurried into the room, her face filled with worry. "Ngozi," her grandmother called. "They are coming for me. They want to kill me," Ngozi replied, her voice trembling. "Do you know them?" her grandmother asked. "Have you seen them before?" "No," she answered. "I don't know any of them and I have not seen them before." Amara stood at the corner of the room, shivering. She had never witnessed anything like this before. Fear gripped her. Suddenly, Ngozi stood up and began to dance to an unknown beat. Ngozi's movement was wild and unexplainable. No one knew what she was dancing to. And grandmother, confused and alarmed, quickly grabbed a bottle of holy water and began to sprinkle it around the room. Yet Ngozi kept dancing. Unfazed, tireless, she danced for more than 2 hours without stopping. Then suddenly, she slumped to the ground and lay still. Ngozi's gasped, fear tightening her chest. Had she passed on? Cautiously, she stepped closer, her heart pounding. She knelt beside Ngozi and placed a trembling hand near her nose. A wave of relief washed over her as Ngozi was still breathing. The next morning, Ngozi woke up as her usual happy self, as if nothing had happened the previous night. She did not remember a thing. She went about her daily activities, laughing and chatting like normal. But when midnight came, it happened again, and then again the next night, and the night after that. Everyone in the household grew worried. After days of watching strange occurrence repeat itself, Ngozi's parents decided to come and take her daughter back from the village. In their mind, they believe her stay in the village had cost everything. In the days following their return to the city, Ngozi's nocturnal episodes ceased, bringing a sense of relief to her parents. However, the sudden onset of her symptoms during the village visits had already sown seed of suspicion and tension between them. One evening, as Ngozi's mother prepared dinner, she couldn't contain her thoughts any longer. "I knew it," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "My daughter is not going back to that village again." Her husband, seated at the dining table, looked up from his newspaper. "What are you talking about?" "That village," she continued, her voice tinged with anger. "They almost initiated my daughter into something I don't understand, and I'm beginning to suspect your mother." He slammed the newspaper onto the table, his face flushing with anger. "How dare you mention my mother in this? Are you out of your mind?" She turned to him, her eyes blazing. "What else am I supposed to think? Our daughter started behaving strangely the moment she got there. We both know your mother dabbles in spiritual things." "My mother is not fetish," he retorted, his voice rising. "She has her spiritual practices, yes, but that doesn't make her a witch or whatever you are insinuating. Watch your words." The room grew tense, the air thick with unspoken accusation and lingering doubt. He stood up, pushing the chair back with a screech, and stormed out of the room, leaving her standing there, fists clenched, heart pounding with a mix of fear and frustration. As the door slammed shut behind him, she sank into the chair, burying her face at her hand, the weight of their pressing predicament pressing heavily on her shoulder. That night, Ngozi's usual behavior started again. Her parents were terrified. This was the first time witnessing her display. As usual, after dancing uncontrollable, she suddenly slumped to the ground. Her parents panicked, pacing up and down in fear. What could be happening? The next day, Ngozi did not wake up her usual cheerful energy. This time, she was sick, very sick. Her mother worry quickly turned into blame. She glared. "What has Mama done to my daughter? I know she doesn't like me, but this is her granddaughter, for crying out loud. What has she done?" Ngozi's father rebuked her sharply. Stop speaking like that. My mother will never harm anyone. But his wife refused to listen. Tears streamed down her face as she heard Ngozi weekend. My baby, my precious baby, I regret allowing you to visit the village. None of this would have happened. I'm so sorry. Her husband, trying to remain calm, picked up his phone. We have to find a solution, he said, as he dialed his mother's number. Mama, it is getting worse, he said urgently. Ngozi can't even stand up from the bed. I wanted to take her to the hospital, but I feel like this is spiritual, Mom. What do we do? His mother's voice was serious. Give me a few hours. I will get back to you. Ngozi's mother, who had been listening, exploded with rage. You see what I'm saying? Your mother knows exactly what is happening. How can someone be so wicked to her granddaughter? Nothing must happen to my daughter, or else this house will not contain all of us. Her husband, Patience, snapped. Will you shut your mouth up, he growled. What is your problem? I've told you my mother will never harm anyone. She's not like you. She will never hurt Ngozi. You are blind, she shouted. Picking up her phone, she dialed her mother-in-law. Mama, leave my daughter alone. Release her from your witch coven. She is your granddaughter. Please set her free. Furious, Ngozi's father rushed at her, snatched the phone from her hand, then in a burst of anger, he slapped her across the face. How dare you? He thundered. Ngozi's mother staggered back, holding her cheek in shock. Tears filled her eyes. He had never hit her before. Without a word, she turned and stormed out of the room. Ngozi's father sank in the couch, his mind racing. He was deeply troubled. What could be the problem? He couldn't wait for his mother's call. Minutes later, his phone rang and he answered immediately. His mother's voice was urgent. There is no time to waste. You must bring Ngozi back to the village immediately. She only has few more days to live. Panic gripped him. He quickly called his wife to tell her what his mother had said, but she was furious. So they can finally kill my daughter, she cried. My husband, open your eyes and think. Set emotions aside. Your mother has always wanted to separate us, and now she's using our daughter. You know she doesn't like me. She is evil. She shook her head defiantly. The first time we sent Ngozi to the village for a brief visit, look at what has happened. And now you want me to take my sick daughter back there. God forbid. We need to find a solution here. Ngozi's father sat down, confused. He trusted his mother, but his wife's words were beginning to get to him. Doubts crept his mind. What if she was right? He was running out of time. His mother had said Ngozi had only few days to live. What was he going to do? Desperate for guidance, he decided to visit his best friend, Mr. Maxwell. He explained everything, his voice heavy with worry. Mr. Maxwell shook his head. You are my best friend and I won't deceive you. I support your wife on this. I think you should look for a solution here. But my mom said Ngozi has only few days left. Ngozi's father protested. Forget about what your mom said, Mr. Maxwell interrupted. I know a place I can take you. You will find out the truth and know what is really happening. Are you serious? Ngozi's father asked eagerly. Yes, so Mr. Maxwell assured him. I will take you all there tomorrow. Why not today? Ngozi's father pressed. Don't worry, Maxwell said. I will pick you up first thing in the morning. That evening, Ngozi's father returned home and told his wife everything. She was relieved. Don't worry, my husband. Everything will be fine. However, his mother kept calling. Are you people not coming? She asked anxiously. There is no time to waste. We need to sort this issue out quickly. Mama, I'm sorry, he replied. We won't be coming. We have decided to find a solution here. His mother was silent for a moment. Then she sighed. My son, there is solution here. There is no time to waste for Ngozi's sake. I don't want anything to happen to her. Before he could respond, his wife snatched the phone from his hand. Mama, we already know your plan, she shouted. You want to kill my daughter. You're a witch, oh. Ha, Mama, you are very wicked. Even if you don't like me, what has your granddaughter done to you? What is her offense? Mama, this is the height of it, and shame on you. I won't let my daughter die. Mark my words. There was silence on the other end of the line. Finally, his mother spoke. Give the phone to my son. I want to speak to him. Reluctantly, Ngozi's mother handed him the phone. My son, his mother said, her voice filled with sadness. So you think I'm a winch too? Even though I don't like your wife, why will I hurt you or my granddaughter? All I want is for Ngozi to be fine. That's all. Anyway, take care of her. Nothing must happen to her. Nothing must go wrong with her. She ended the call. Ngozi's father sat on the couch, deep in thought. What was he doing? Was he doing the right thing? He was so confused. As promised, Mr. Maswell arrived early and took them to a place he has spoken about. It was a spiritual house. A priest sat before them, his eyes closed in deep concentration. After a long silence, he finally spoke. I see an elderly woman dragging your daughter in the spiritual realm. Ngozi's mother jumped up. I said it. Did I not say this? The priest turned to them. Who is Madam Happiness? That is my mother-in-law, Ngozi's mother exclaimed. I knew it. I told you all. Ngozi's father felt a deep sadness wash over him. How can my mother do this? He murmured, his voice shaking. What can we do to save our daughter? He asked desperately. Don't worry, the priest assured them. Your daughter will not die. I will give you an ointment. Rub it in her body for 3 days. On the fourth day, she will be healed. Relief flooded their hearts. They thanked the priest and left. Every morning, they followed the instruction carefully, applying the ointment to Ngozi's frail body. They were filled with hope, watching and waiting. But on the third day, Ngozi got worse. On the third day, she got worse. Her situation worsened. She lay still, barely able to whisper a word. Her parents panicked, immediately called the priest. Do not worry, he assured them. She will be fine on the fourth day. Clinging to his word, they took a deep breath and focused on being hopeful. They prayed, waiting for the morning that will bring their daughter back to them. At dawn, their hearts filled with anticipation as they hurried to Ngozi's room, expecting to see her sitting up, smiling, alive. But as they stepped inside, they froze. Ngozi laid motionless on the bed, her body stilled. Her mother rushed to her, shaking her desperately. Ngozi, my baby, wake up, please wake up. But there was no response. Her father pressed his finger against her wrist, searching frantically for a pulse. Nothing. Reality crashed down on them. Their daughter was gone. A piercing scream turned through the air as Ngozi's mother collapsed beside her daughter's lifeless body, sobbing uncontrollable. Her father staggered backward, his leg giving way beneath him. He buried his face in his hands, his body shaking with grief. They tried calling the priest over and over, but his number was unreachable. Panic turned into devastation. The man who had assured them that their daughter would be fine had vanished. For days, the house was filled with nothing but money. They sat in silence, hollow, broken. Their daughter was gone, and no one had answers. Mother Happiness arrived at their house, her face filled with sorrow. She had been heartbroken since hearing Ngozi's death and had finally gathered the courage to visit. As soon as Ngozi's mother saw her, rage exploded within her. She shot to her feet, her voice sharp with fury. What have you come here to do, witch? You have succeeded, haven't you? Are you happy now? Her husband quickly grabbed her hand, his grip firm but pleading. Enough, he said. Let's hear her out. Mother Happiness sighed deeply and took a seat. An elderly man was sitting beside her. Her face was heavy with grief. Please, my children, she began, her voice trembling. I have no hand in my granddaughter's death. I am not a witch. I have never harmed anyone in my life. My hands are clean. She gestured to the man beside her. This is the person we were supposed to see before, but she refused to come, so I have brought him here instead. The elderly man cleared his throat and adjusted his seat. His presence commanded attention, and his eyes held a knowing depth. My children, he said, I know you are grieving. The pain of losing a child is unbearable, but I must tell you, this is not your mother doing. Ngozi's mother let out a bitter laugh, folding her hands. Then whose doing is this? She snapped. The old man turned his gaze towards her. His next words sent a chill down her spine. My dear, do you remember what happened 18 years ago? Ngozi's mother's expression shifted. Confusion flickered across her face. 18 years ago, she repeated. I don't remember anything. But deep inside her, something stirred, an old buried memory clawing its way to its surface. The old man took a deep breath and looked directly at Ngozi's mother. 18 years ago, he began. You were desperate for a child. You searched everywhere, refusing to wait on God's time. You feared your mother-in-law would throw you out since she never truly accepted you. Though your husband was supportive, your desperation consumed you. Ngozi's mother felt her chest tighten as the word washed over her. You sought out the river goddess, the old man continued. You made an agreement, one that will cost you dearly. The goddess gave you a child, but in return, she will take her back once she turned 18. In your desperation, you accepted without thinking. That's why you never conceived again after Ngozi's birth. Your womb was blocked. You were destined to have 3 sets of twins, but the goddess took that from you. And when Ngozi turned 18, the spirit came for her. Ngozi's mother gasped, staggering backward. The memory rushed back like a flood. How could she have forgotten? How could she have buried something so crucial? Tears streamed down her face as realization set in. Her husband stood, frozen, staring at her in shock. The woman he had loved, respected, trusted, built a life with had kept such a dark secret from him. He felt betrayed. Who had he been living with all these years? Just then, his phone rang, snapping him out of his daze. It was Maxwell's wife. Her voice was frantic. Please come quickly. Maxwell had a terrible accident. He's been asking for you. Without hesitation, he rushed to the hospital. When he arrived, he found Maxwell lying on the bed, his body covered in bandages. His friend's face was filled with pain, but there was something else, regret. My friend, Maxwell's voice was weak but urgent. You are a good man, better than I ever was, and I don't deserve your forgiveness. Ngozi's father frowned. What are you talking about? Maxwell took a shaking breath. I deceived you, he confessed. I was jealous of you. You had a loving family while mine was falling apart. I envied your happiness. When you told me about Ngozi, I saw an opportunity and I took it. Ngozi's father clenched his fist. I arranged everything, Maxwell admitted. The priest, he was fake. I paid him to lie. I wanted him to blame everything on your mother so you will not go back to the village for a real solution. I wanted Ngozi to die. And she did. I'm sorry. It was the devil's work. His voice strayed off as his eyes wailed with tears. Ngozi's father felt like the world was spinning around him. First, his wife betrayer, and now this. He stood up, his chest heaving. Maxwell kept calling after him, but he did not look back till he died. When he got home, he collapsed to his knee in front of his mother. His voice cracked with emotions. Mama, please forgive me. He sobbed. I adopted you. I turned against you for the people who never clearly cared about me. I failed you. I failed Ngozi. Tears streamed down Madam Happiness' face as she looked at her broken son. Ngozi's mother joined him, weeping uncontrollable. I was blind, she cried. I blamed you for everything when I was the cause of it all. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but please, Mama, forgive me. For a moment, Madam Happiness said nothing. Then she reached out and pulled them into an embrace. I forgive you, she whispered. We have lost so much already. Let's not lose each other anymore. Ngozi's father wiped his tears and took a deep breath. He then shared Maxwell's confession with them. Shock filled the room, but Mother Happiness placed a gentle hand on her son's shoulder. Don't let bitterness consume you, she said. Forgive your wife, just as you have been forgiven. You still have a chance to build a family and to move forward. He nodded, swallowing the lumps in his throat. Turning to his wife, he hesitated before saying this. We will build together. We will rebuild together. They hugged tightly, grief and healing mingling as one. Tears flowed, but for the first time in a long time, there was hope. The past could not be changed, but the future was theirs to rebuild. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like and subscribe to my channel.